I read that when Kurt used to be homeless, sometimes he would sleep on your front porch. Do you know if that's true or is that exaggerated?
He slept on my back porch once or twice, which I don't know why he didn't just knock on the door because I was home. He was probably too drunk or something like that. So, but I would have easily opened the door and let him in. So I think it's one of those things where it's a bigger myth. There was an enclosed front porch, but there was also a back porch that was half enclosed, and I think he might have like passed out there one night, maybe. But like I said, he could have easily just knocked on the door. But I mean, even with like stuff like him living under some bridge or spending nights under there, it's like, probably not really that true.
Yeah, for everyone I've spoken to that was familiar with Kurt have said that he never slept under there. That like he spent time there, but he never slept there.
Or maybe he passed out there. That could very well be true, But yeah, it's probably more of a story,
Does the association with Nirvana, like, is it difficult to live with because like it's everywhere all the time?
Yeah, I mean, it is strange. Like I said, my daughter discovered the band without me really, playing them or anything like that. So it's weird, that's for sure.
Yeah, I can imagine. What was that like for you, I guess? Like you knew Chris and Kurt, you know Dave for a while before they all got famous. And then when you see them get famous, like what was that like for you? Like, oh, I know these guys. Like how was that experience?
Oh yeah, I mean the whole thing, it was totally surreal, Because we were just on tour with them as well, before all of a sudden, like MTV picked up their video, and then they were being played all the time. There was definitely a buzz about them, and certainly about that record. And I think everybody thought it was going to do really well, but everybody was surprised at how that blew up. It was totally surreal. But I mean, yeah, even those guys were surprised by it.
Yeah, I could imagine. So about a year prior to the release of Nevermind, you played drums with Nirvana during their 1990 Sonic Youth tour, that tour being a big turning point in the band's history. At that point in time when things were really getting off the ground, were Kurt and Chris feeling any pressure mounting on them?
Those guys were keeping their heads about it. Yeah, I mean, they're already having some success. And even when I was with them, we were here in LA and we were having meetings with A&R people and managers and stuff like that. Most of them at the time, they didn't really, they could tell, they just kind of seemed like phony Hollywood types, And I think, well, just even touring with Sonic Youth, I think that was an influence on them because they ended up signing with the same label and having the same manager and all that kind of stuff. So, but yeah, I mean, they knew that they were going to get signed somehow or something that was going to happen. And yeah, I mean, even Sonic Youth were doing really well. That tour that we did was for the Goo record, and they were kind of, I mean, for their band, like that was great. They were like selling punk rock gold, So I remember thinking and talking with those guys, thinking like, you guys could probably do that and maybe even do a little bit better. Nobody thought nobody thought it'd be like that,
When was the first time you realized, like, my goodness, they're about to explode? Like, was there a moment like that for you?
Like right before that record came out, yeah. Or just even, it was a good record. Really catchy songs, and, I thought it would do well.
So on that record, one of the songs on that record is Drain You. And from what I understand, in April of 91, when Kurt and Dave were going down from Seattle to LA to record Nevermind, they met up with you first in San Francisco. And they did. And one of the songs you guys jammed together was actually Drain You. Did you write the drum parts for that song? Is that correct?
Yeah, more or less. I remember we went over to my rehearsal space and just to jam or whatever, and that was one of the songs Kurt had that he hadn't finished yet. And Dave actually jumped on bass and I jumped on drums, and that was just the drum part that came to mind. And I remember Dave saying, "Oh, that's really great. I wasn't quite sure what to play on that." And so that's the drum beat he ended up using. I mean, it's pretty much like a Ringo style drum beat.
So could you technically say that you're a songwriter on that song?
I wish I could, because then I could get money for it.
Of all the Nirvana songs that you're involved with, whether it's the Dale demo, whether it's the one that's like on Bleach, all the stuff you worked on, what is your favorite song? Do you have one?
I like Floyd the Barber a lot. I mean, a lot of the stuff, like the demo or whatever that I played on, I mean, definitely there's certainly more of a Melvins influence than what they've turned into. When they had done their first record and came down and played me About a Girl, and I said, you guys been listening to the Smithereens? And they kind of went, oh, like they'd kind of been caught, or just they were surprised that I said that, but I'd just seen the Smithereens play. So I was like, whoa. And, I think they did listen to the Smithereens a little bit, or at least there's, that kind of Beatles thing, I guess, but I do think that they'd been listening to the Smithereens.